Oh, hey Grant. Didn't even realize anyone was in here. Let me know if you can hear everything okay. My computer took a crap on me like earlier this week, and I had to do a full operating system reinstall, so everything is being set up again. I'll get the matches started here in a sec. I got everything booked the way I want it. I can turn that down a little bit. Alright, that should be better then. Just gotta get the levels set again. I had it at one point, but everything's changed. I kept putting off updating my streaming software. Now I had to download the new version and everything's all different. Hoi. Alright. I feel like how people feel when I make big changes to FG Assistant and all of a sudden something's in a new place and they just can't find it anymore. Try not to do that too much these days, but it happens every once in a while. No music? Good Lord. Yeah, there doesn't need to be a ton of music, but I want to show off the sound a little bit. Which reminds me, I should go add sounds to Ray Stevens, because I don't think he has any. I'm gradually updating all of the cards to have sound as I use them. So I don't think I've used Ray Stevens since I made that update. And Advanced Wrestler Edit, move sounds, arm drag, that's going to get a quick mat slam, body slam gets a mat slam, knee lift, go with the kick, punches to the midsection is a punch obviously, elbow drop, that's a quick mat slam because it's a falling elbow drop. Neckbreaker is going to be a mat slam because they're dropping over the thing. I usually do quick mat slam on the drop kicks because somebody's going to fall down. Jumping knee smash. Make that a kick sound. Underhook suplex is a mat slam. Face bite. Crowd don't like it when people get bit. Crippling pile driver. That's going to be a mat slam. And bombs away. That's a knee drop, so that's a mat slam. There we go. And let me see. He is a rule breaker in my fed. So there we go. We got him all set up. I think at that point everybody should have the sounds. So we're going to get started here. We got 6 matches tonight. We're going to open up with Alibaba from my latest set, and he's going to be taking on Cowboy Luttrell, who is unreleased as of yet. Will probably be one of the upcoming cards of the month. Then we've got the brothers, Frank Gears and Don Leo Jonathan's father, Brother Jonathan, and they're going to be taking on George and Sandy Scott, the Flying Scots. Then we've got our United States title match where champion Danny Pletchis is going to make his first defense against Ray Stevens. That should be kind of a difficult one for him, but if he can pull through, he'll definitely be the, he'll quiet all of the doubters there. Then we've got Helen Hild, Ted DiBiase's mother, taking on Ida Mae Martinez. Then we got Billy Joyce versus Alfred Hayes, and this should be a #1 contenders match for the European title. So let's set that up. Match info. Number 1 contenders match. European title. There we go. So a #1 contenders match for the European title, Billy Joyce versus Alfred Hayes. And then we've got a junior heavyweight title match where Leroy McGurk, the champion, will defend against Herb Welch. Yeah, Dory Funk Sr. is the latest one. And then if you didn't grab I've released the full set, the Bootlegs of Wrestling Spring 2026 set as card packs at kind of the mid-end of last month. So those are up there. I think you already have the Bootlegs of Wrestling Spring 2026 set. I sent it in the testing channel. Anyway, let's get started. We got Alibaba versus Cowboy Luttrell. Here we go. In the blue corner, weighing in at 233 pounds and standing 5 feet, 9 inches tall. From Samsun, Turkey, he is Ali Baba. And in the red corner, weighing in at 234 pounds and standing 5 feet, 11 inches tall. From Jacksboro, Texas, Cowboy Clarence Luttrell. And the two men meet up in the center of the ring. And it's Alibaba taking control. Alibaba with a one-arm lift and throw. That's a power move. And Alibaba does have the power and the agility. So Alibaba definitely got the leg up in this one. And that's going to put Cowboy Luttrell in trouble. He stands back up and Baba moves in. Single leg pickup and slam. just keeps putting Luttrell down onto the mat. And Alibaba now not going to throw him out of the ring, going to roll up, pick him up and slam him down again. Alibaba just showing that he can move Luttrell around at will. Oop. That is not what I was trying to do. And Luttrell counters. And he applies a double wrist lock on Alibaba. Alibaba is down, going to roll out of the ring. And your opponent slams you to the mat with a big move near the ropes. You roll out of the ring to recollect yourself, but the opponent follows you outside and continues to attack you before rolling you back inside the ring. Cowboy Luttrell rolls on level 3 offense. And now Luttrell executes a backdrop on Alibaba as Baba charges at him. Baba's hurt here. And an overhand wrist lock. And that's applying pressure to Alibaba. You can see it on his face. He is not enjoying this at all. Luttrell transitions into a double wrist lock and brings Baba back down. Alibaba not near the ropes this time. And Cowboy Luttrell grabs him with a big headlock and just tries to squeeze away. The target is going to be 4, and the roll is a 10. Alibaba able to free himself from that headlock, and then Cowboy Luttrell throws him from the ring. While fighting for control near the ropes, both you and your opponent go tumbling over the top rope to the concrete arena floor. Roll for double count out 5. Well, let's see. They're both counted out of the ring, and this match ends in an unspectacular way, as both men are counted out. Well, this match is ruled a draw. Let's see. Ruled a draw due to double count out. Both men fell in the ring. Let's see here. That was not a very good one. I'm going to call it a dud, unfortunately. There we go. Well, that was the opener. Not the most exciting opener we've ever had, but it was something. And we're going to move on to tag team action with the brothers taking on the Flying Scots.
It's up to you, bro.
And the brothers, Frank Jeers and brother Jonathan, are going to take on George and Sandy Scott. Let's go down to the ringside. In the blue corner at a total combined weight of 470 pounds, brother Frank Jeers and brother Jonathan, the brothers. We don't know what's going on with that name. In the red corner at a total combined weight of 465 pounds from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, George and Sandy Scott, the Flying Scots. I bet I accidentally punched something into his entrance name. So the Flying Scots and the brothers. Let's see, we're going to have brother Jonathan start with George Scott. And they meet in the center. And George Scott quickly takes advantage, executing a top wrist lock on brother Jonathan. Brother Jonathan counters, puts George Scott in a standing arm lock. Scott counters. Scott with a standing arm bar of his own. Brother Jonathan says no, counters out of that. Throws him over with a hip roll, but Scott is quickly back to his feet and pushing brother Jonathan into the ropes. And Scott forces brother Jonathan into the ropes and rocks him with several hard shots to his exposed chest. And George Scott in control here. Scott now with a flying head scissors takedown. And brother Jonathan is hurt. Got toe hold by George Scott. That's a choice C, so let's see. Agility is 0, so we're going to go for that. This is going to work on a 7 or less. Is it not? What's going on here? Yeah, it looks like it froze on the scene here. Let's see if I can fix that. Window capture. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Yeah, it does not want to show that. Okay. Remove this. Sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. Let me... If I do this, will it display the right thing? No, it will not. This is what I get for updating my software. Okay, so... And it did not like that either. Remove. Alright, I'm just going to do this the old-fashioned way where I just stream the entire... everything that's going on my monitor here. There we go. Now I'm going to have to turn up the desktop. I think that's probably a little low in the mix. Yeah, I don't know why it decided to freeze on the other screen. Like, it's such a weird thing. Let me try one more time, because if I could get this to work, that would be nice. There we go. Alright. It messed up my mixed now. the audio mix now too, so let me know if that's okay. Alright, so let's get back into this. George Scott just attempted a drop toe hold and succeeded. That was a level 3 drop toe hold. That's a pretty aggressive drop toe hold. And that's going to leave Brother Jonathan down, but Brother Jonathan is going to roll out of the ring. The drop toe hold slams him to the mat near the ropes, and Brother Jonathan rolls out to recollect himself, but George Scott follows him to the outside and continues the attack before throwing him back inside. George Scott now on the attack, and Scott with a big flying body press. That's a choice G. We're going to go for the death jump. And no, Brother Jonathan catches him and slams him to the mat. Brother Jonathan using his size to his advantage. And now Brother Jonathan drops a knee. Let's see here. I'm going to try it on the power. That's going to be 7 or less. And on a roll of 8, George Scott rolls out of the way. And Brother Jonathan charges back in. And George Scott now with a big back body drop. Brother Jonathan hits the mat hard. Slow to get up as Scott moves in. Backs him into the ropes. And Brother Jonathan comes off the ropes and tries to shoulder tackle George Scott. But Scott drops down and clips his legs. Jonathan crashes to the mat. And George Scott is in control here. Scott now scoops him up and body slams him to the mat. Makes a tag to his brother Sandy. Sandy Scott comes in with a big back body drop of his own. Brother Jonathan's hurt here. And Sandy Scott rakes his face with his boot. And Brother Jonathan is hurt. Sandy Scott now with a flying head scissor. Brother Jonathan goes down, gets back to his feet, and Sandy Scott is quick to body slam him to the mat. That is the wrong card. And Brother Jonathan is hurt. And Sandy Scott backs Brother Jonathan into the ropes. Let's see, forces him into the ropes and then rocks him with several hard shots to the chest as Sandy Scott is in control here. Scott now with a wind-up punch on Brother Jonathan. That's going to leave him down. He's going to try to make the tag. He can't get it. But Sandy tags George back in. And now George Scott locks on the sleeper hold. That is a +1 finisher, so the target is going to be 5, and the roll is a 7. Brother Jonathan able to get to the ropes and force the break. George Scott not going to throw him out of the ring. Instead, going to hit him with a flying head scissors takedown. And go for the pin again. We're going to go for the pin save here. So Brother Jonathan is being pinned, and Brother Frank comes in and saves him. I'm going to roll on the outside interference chart here. If you're being pinned, submitted, or counted out, the distraction breaks the count. So there we go. And we're going to add 1, and then he rolls on level 3. I'm not going to throw him out of the ring, going to roll up. And he applies a hammerlock there. Brother Jonathan able to counter. Side headlock by Brother Jonathan. George Scott counters that. Big back body drop by George Scott. Leaves Brother Jonathan down on the mat. Scott not going to throw him out of the ring. Going to back him into the ropes. And you and your opponent battle for position against the ropes. The wrestler with the better overall stat, power or agility, they are tied with a -2 as the best stat for each of them. Uses that stat to gain the advantage. The wrestler with the best overall power or agility rolls on level 3 offense. In the case of a tie, the opponent rolls on level 3 offense. So that's going to be George Scott taking control on the ropes and applying the sleeper hold. We're going to go for that last pin save here. And Brother Frank, once again successfully, slams into the back of George Scott, breaking the sleeper hold. And here we go. Scott now frustrated, going to throw him out of the ring. Opponent, so he scoops him up and body slams him. Jonathan rolls out of the ring. The opponent tries to follow you out of the ring, but the referee won't allow it. As the opponent is busy with the referee, you roll back in the ring and get the upper hand on your opponent. So Brother Jonathan finally, in trying to get some offense in, grabs in a big bear hug and squeezes the life out of George Scott. Now he's going for the tag. And Brother Frank is in. Brother Frank rams him into the turnbuckle. The fans, not fans of the brothers here. And now George Scott in trouble as he slams headfirst into that turnbuckle. And Brother Frank going to throw him out of the ring. While fighting for control near the ropes, both you and your opponent go tumbling over the top rope to the concrete arena floor. Roll for double countout. This is what did in the first match. And they are not counted out. If no countout occurs, roll 1 die. On an even roll, you roll on offense, and on an odd roll, your opponent does. And it's an odd roll, so it is going to be Brother Frank taking control as they get back into the ring, hitting a knee facebuster on George Scott. And Scott is hurt. Brother Frank now whipping him into the turnbuckle. And Scott hits the buckle hard, stumbles out right into Brother Scott's face block and uppercuts. And George Scott in trouble here. He's hurt. And Brother Frank now into the turnbuckle again. And as the referee gets between you and your opponent to separate, One of you gets the upper hand. Roll 1 die. On an even roll, fan favorite narrowly avoids being struck by the rule breaker. On an odd roll, the rule breaker throws a sucker punch. The brothers are the rule breakers, and the Scotts are the fan favorites. So we're going to roll 1 die here. And it is even, so that's going to be the Scotts. George Scott narrowly avoids the sucker punch thrown by Brother Frank and is on the attack, locking in a hammer lock on Brother Frank. Brother Frank counters that and locks up and shoves him off. Scott says, "Nuh-uh." Comes right back in with a snap mare. And Brother Frank is down. Brother Frank going to try to make that tag. And he gets it as Brother Jonathan comes back in. Locks on the wrist lock on George Scott. Scott now going to try to tag out. Can't quite do it. Brother Frank going to make that tag, though. Brother Jonathan going to make that tag to Brother Frank. Brother Frank comes in and applies a side headlock. George Scott is feeling it, but they're close to the corner. He's going to try to make that tag. Can't quite get there. And Brother Frank. Now Beal tosses George Scott out of the corner. And Scott is back up, comes charging in with a forearm slug. And that is just going to bounce off Brother Frank. Just not going to do anything. Brother Frank grabs an arm lock and then crushes him with some big uppercuts to his arm. And George Scott is hurt. Brother Frank now sends him back into the turnbuckle. And let's see here. Scott hits the turnbuckle hard. Stumbles back out, and Brother Frank now grabs him by the back of the head and then rams him into the turnbuckle on the other side. George Scott is down. Brother Frank now with that face ripper. Gonna go for the level 3 move. He needs 8 or less. And on a 5, that face ripper really gets in there. George Scott is hurt. And arm locks him and delivers some more uppercuts to the arm of George Scott. George Scott in trouble here, trying to make that tag. He's close, but he can't quite get to it as Brother Frank pulls him away, grabs him in a face lock, and just hits him with some uppercuts. The referee is admonishing Brother Frank, but he doesn't seem to care. Grabs an arm lock and delivers uppercuts to the arm, just really hammering away on George Scott here. Scott going for that tag, and he's finally able to make it. And Sandy Scott comes in, a house of fire here. Arm drag on Brother Frank. And Brother Frank is down. Sandy Scott now, big back body drop as Brother Frank comes charging at him. Brother Frank is down, trying to make that tag. Can't get to it. Sandy Scott grabs the legs, pulls him away, scoops him up, and throws him out of the ring. Slams him down with a move near the ropes. Roll out of the ring to recollect yourself, but Sandy Scott follows him outside and is on the attack. Sandy Scott locks in that abdominal stretch. Brother Frank in trouble here. Target is going to be 5. Roll is a 2. And with the abdominal stretch, the Flying Scots have defeated the brothers. So that was Sandy Scott beating Brother Frank with an abdominal stretch. There we go. Let's see, 4, so that's... I'm going to give it a 1.5 stars. It wasn't quite a 1-star match. It was better than that. So I'll give it an extra half star. And we're on to our U.S. title match here. Danny Pletchis is defending his title against crippler Ray Stevens. And Pletchis has just won the title by beating Bobby Manigoff on our last... I guess it was 2 cards ago. And now he's got Ray Stevens in his first defense. Let's go to ringside. In the blue corner, weighing in at 220 pounds and standing 6 feet tall, from Omaha, Nebraska, he is the NWC United States Champion, Bulldog, Danny Pletchis. And in the red corner, weighing in at 230 pounds and standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, from San Francisco, California, this is Crippler Ray Stevens. And Stevens and Pletchus meet in the center. And Ray Stevens quickly arm drags Danny Pletchus to the mat. And Pletchus pops back up with no hesitation. Charges in at Stevens, shoving his forearm against the throat, backing him into the corner and choking him. And Ray Stevens in trouble, but Stevens shoves him out and tries for a giant swing. That's not going to work as Danny Pletchus kicks Stevens off real easily. And as they get back up, Pletchus lands a hard right hand on Ray Stevens. Stevens is hurt here as Danny Pletchus lands another hard right hand and goes for the cover. Now that is a quick cover here. Target is 2, roll is a 5. So Ray Stevens able to kick out. And Pletchus now grabs him and drops him with a backbreaker. And Ray Stevens is down, and he's going to roll out of the ring. And Ray Stevens, they both go tumbling from the... well, fighting for control near the ropes. Both Stevens and Pletchus go tumbling from the ring. The two men make their way to their feet, and the fight continues on the arena floor. The wrestler with the better ring rating rolls on level 2 offense. They are even. If the ring rating is tied, opponent rolls on level 2, so Danny Pletchus winning that brawl on the outside, throws Stevens back in, and blasts him with a shoulder tackle. And Stevens is hurt here as Danny Pletchus is on the attack. Another big hard right hand connects on the head of Ray Stevens. Stevens is dazed as Pletchus pushes him back into the corner and chokes him. Stevens stumbles out of the corner after being choked and right into another hard right hand by Danny Pletchus. Once again, Stevens is dropped to the mat with that right hand, rolling out of the ring. And Stevens rolls out to recollect himself. As he re-enters the ring, the opponent is quick to react and gets the upper hand again. Opponent rolls on level 2 offense, so Pletchus just all over Stevens. Yet no one is staying in the ring tonight is right. Everybody's just all over the arena tonight. And Pletchus now sends Stevens into the turnbuckle. And Stevens, your opponent tries to whip you into the turnbuckle, but you reverse the attempt. So Ray Stevens reverses it, Pletchus going into the buckle. And as the referee gets between you, this is the sucker punch or avoided sucker punch. They're both technically heels in this fed, but I'm going to say the fans are more on the side of Danny Pletchus because he's newer and has done less things to make them dislike him. So Pletchus is the fan favorite. Stevens is the rule breaker. Let's roll one die here. And it's even, so that's Danny Pletchus avoiding the sucker punch. And he takes control and is on the attack here. And he backs Stevens into the turnbuckle one more time. And once again, Stevens tries to throw that sucker punch. And let's see here. And that's going to be Pletchus avoiding the sucker punch again. Danny Pletchus into the turnbuckle for a third time. Pletchus just really wants him in that buckle. And that is another sucker punch. I think you got to stop trying to do this, Ray Stevens. And this one succeeds. Ray Stevens finally hits him with the sucker punch. And that is going to lay Pletchus out. And Ray Stevens on the attack on level 3 offense now. Stevens goes to the top, bombs away. Target is 4. Roll is a 6. Danny Pletchus able to kick out. Stevens in control now. Can't use that one. Let's see, what's his thing? In singles matches, use vertical suplex 3. So that's what that is. Vertical suplex by Ray Stevens. Danny Pletchus is down near the ropes. Rolls out of the ring. While fighting for control near the ropes, both you and your opponent go tumbling over the top rope to the concrete arena floor. Roll for double countout. Let's see if this works. They are counted out. So the two men don't solve anything here. Title stays with Danny Pletchis as both men are counted out of the ring. We're going to say that they brawled to the back. So you double count out. Let's see. I'm going to say that was a 2-star match. Wasn't a bad match. Stevens and Pletchis. All the way to the back. As the referee repeatedly calls for the bell. There we go. I have a feeling that one's going to get a rematch. And Helen Hild versus Ida Mae Martinez in our next bout. Let's go to ringside. In the blue corner, weighing in at 128 pounds and standing 5 feet 6 inches tall, from Omaha, Nebraska, this is Helen Hild. And in the red corner, weighing in at 125 pounds and standing 5 feet 2 inches tall, from Norwich, Connecticut, Ida Mae Martinez. And the two ladies head to the center of the ring and lock up. And it's Ida Mae Martinez just absolutely housing Helen Hild on the get-go here. And that's a choice C crossbody block. Agility is -1, power is 0, so we'll go for the power. That's 7 or less. She can't get it. And Helen Hild grabs her by the hair, throws her down to the mat. And Ida Mae in trouble. And Helen Hild lifts a knee to the stomach as she gets back to her feet. And Helen Hild has the power advantage, so that will connect. Ida Mae Martinez catches the knee, though, and kicks her in the stomach. And Helen Hild is down as Ida Mae Martinez locks on that Texas cloverleaf. And Hild able to throw her off. And as they get back to their feet, Ida Mae Martinez scoops her up and slams her to the mat. Hild is hurt here. And a flying head scissors by Ida Mae Martinez. And Hild brought to the mat, but quick to get to her feet. And Ida Mae quick to throw her back down with the head scissors again. Helen Hild not going to leave the ring here. Ida Mae Martinez going to drop kick her instead. That is a finisher, so that is going to leave the target at 3 since it's a 0 finisher. And the roll is a 9. Helen Hild able to kick out. Ida Mae Martinez going to the top. And comes off with a flying crossbody. And Helen Hild in trouble here. As Ida Mae Martinez not going to throw her out of the ring, going to roll up. Forearm to the chest of Helen Hild. And Ida Mae drops her with that. That was a big, hard one. And Ida Mae back to the top rope. Coming off the top rope here. And this time it's a big flying drop kick on Helen Hild. Hild in trouble as Ida Mae Martinez then hits the regular drop kick and goes for the pin. Target is going to be 4. Roll is an 11. So Helen Hild still has her wits about her and is able to kick out. And Ida Mae not going to throw her out of the ring. I missed the button. And going to body slam her to the mat. Helen Hild is hurt. And a big forearm to the chest. Helen Hild able to block it. And a big gut wrench on Ida Mae. Ida Mae's hurt here. And Hild backs her into the buckle. Hild hits the buckle hard. Stumbles back out. Helen Hild now hair mares her to the mat. Ida Mae gets up. Helen Hild hits a drop kick of her own and goes for the cover. Target is 4. Roll is a 4. So Helen Hild fought back and pinned Ida Mae with a drop kick of her own. Let's see here. That was 1.5 stars. So there we go. And here is the #1 contenders match for the European title. Billy Joyce, an underrated shooter. Really, probably one of the most dangerous men to ever come out of the snake pit in Wigan. And the guy who taught Carl Gotch and Billy Robinson. He is going to take on Judo Al Hayes, or Lord Alfred Hayes, as he's better known here in the U.S. And the winner of this match will get a match against Al Karasik for the European title. And in the blue corner, weighing in at 224 pounds and standing 6 feet tall, from Wigan, England, he is Billy Joyce. And in the red corner, weighing in at 232 pounds and standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, from Windermere, England, this is Lord Alfred Hayes. And Hayes and Joyce lock up, and Billy Joyce not able to get the upper hand on Alfred Hayes. Hayes comes out with a big European uppercut on Billy Joyce. That's going to daze Joyce. And then Hayes scoops him up and tries to body slam him to the mat, but that's not going to work. Billy Joyce able to counter it with a drop toe hold, and then he applies an ankle lock. This is going to... Alfred Hayes is in trouble. That ankle lock is really cinched in. He's got nowhere to go. Target is 3, roll is a 9. Billy Joyce moves into the double leg Nelson. And this is going to be target 5, and the roll is a 7. Al Hayes not off to a good start here. Joyce still has that double leg Nelson applied. Rolls him back into a pin. Target is going to be 6. Roll is a 5. So that's going to do it for Al Hayes. Billy Joyce just absolutely squashed him. Double leg Nelson, that was a squash. No doubt about it. I really enjoy that Billy Joyce card, by the way. That will also be probably upcoming on as a bonus card. He's one of those guys that, like, everybody remembers Billy Robinson from the Wigan Snake Pit and Carl Gotch. Billy Joyce is the guy that basically trained them all. I think he held the, like, middleweight or light heavyweight title over in England for like 7 straight years. Was just an absolute beast. And unfortunately, he kind of gets overlooked these days. But really was a good worker and like a really dangerous guy. Carl Gotch calls him probably the best hooker in that he's ever worked with. So that's some pretty high praise, I guess. And now we're going into our main event of the evening, which is the NBBW World's Junior Heavyweight title match. Leroy McGurk is going to be taking on Herb Welch. McGurk already has a string of defenses. It doesn't approach the amount of defenses that William Muldoon had, but he has definitely been a dominant champion so far. And we've got ourselves a match. And in the blue corner, weighing in at 185 pounds and standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, from Garvin, Oklahoma, the NBBW World's Junior Heavyweight Champion, Leroy McGurk. And in the red corner, weighing in at 185 pounds and standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, from Pawhuska, Oklahoma, Herb Welch. And since it's a title match, we're going to say that Herb Welch is wrestling clean today. That makes a difference for his special. If you're unfamiliar with the story of Herb Welch and his headlock, you're probably better off for that. But if you're not familiar with, or if you want to be familiar with it, you can look it up. Essentially, he used to put just gross shit underneath his armpit and then headlock people with it as a rib. So he was kind of well known for doing that, so I incorporated it into the card because I thought it was amusing. But he's wrestling clean, so it's just a level 3 move. Anyway, they meet in the center, but neither man can get the upper hand as they're battling to see who's going to strike first, and it's Leroy McGurk. And McGurk backs him into the turnbuckle here. And McGurk tries to whip Welch into the buckle, but he counters the whip, and Welch hits that buckle hard and stumbles back out. Herb Welch on the attack. And Welch now with a leg drive takedown. McGurk is dazed here. Wrist lock by Herb Welch. Dazing McGurk. He is in a little bit of pain here. Welch now moves to a front headlock. And I believe, yeah, okay. So we don't need that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the apply gold stat. Because they're both junior heavyweights. So there we go. So power is even, so that's going to work. And McGurk is dazed there by the front face lock by Herb Welch. And here we go, inside cradle. That's a choice F. Gonna go for the level 3. Needs a 7 or less to accomplish this inside cradle. And on a 4, he gets it. And Leroy McGurk is hurt. And into the ropes goes McGurk. McGurk rocked with several hard shots as Herb Welch presses him against the ropes. And keeps him against the ropes. And several more shots. Herb Welch putting up a good showing here. McGurk can't get off the rope here. And after a bit of a stalemate, the referee comes in to separate you. You may choose to roll level 3 offense with the addition of disqualification 6, or roll again on the initiative. Leroy McGurk is a face, so he is going to roll on the initiative. And McGurk gets the upper hand here. And an armbar and leg trip by Leroy McGurk. That puts Herb Welch down. And Welch back to his feet, but McGurk meets him with an arm scissors, taking Herb Welch down. Oop, that's the wrong one. I'm rolling on offense. And McGurk hits the rolling double wrist lock. That is a +1 finisher here. So the target's going to be 4, and the roll is a 3. So just as quickly as it started, it's over. Leroy McGurk picks up the win with the rolling double wrist lock. That seems to be how all McGurk's matches go. Let's see, that gets 1 for being a title match, and half a 1 for the fatigue, so that's a 1.5 star match. There we go. And that is all of our stuff, so let's check things out. Title history here. And we saw the U.S. title. Danny Pletchis got a defense here, but doesn't really count since it was just a DQ. And then we're going up here. We also saw the junior heavyweight title, and that was McGurk's 3rd defense, which is actually more than anyone else has had on the title except for William Muldoon. Muldoon had 26 defenses over nearly 10 years, or just over 10 years of holding the title, or just under 10 years, I guess it would be. 3,073 days. Muldoon held that title. Just ridiculous. McGurk now held the title for a year. So Leroy McGurk, the second most dominant junior heavyweight champion we've had. It's been a while since we've streamed, so let's kind of go over what's going on, I guess. I think Blassie was the champion the last time we streamed, but Freddie Blassie won the title in year 9, and here we are in year 12, and he's still the champion. His current reign has gone for 822 days. It's probably gone a little longer than that, because this only counts to the last defense, which was in March, and we're 2 months on from that. So, about 800 and... what would that be? 880 days now. And Ricky Dozan lost the Pan-Pacific title to the Sheik, who has just been absolutely dominating over there in Japan. Before he went to Japan, he had won like 1 match and lost 11 straight. And he went over to Japan and he's like on a 10-match winning streak or something like that. It's ridiculous. Al Karasik, he dethroned the French Angel and took home the European title. He's been the champion for the last couple of months here. Our Oceania heavyweight title. This is our Australian promotion, which I don't run very often, but every once in a while. Mario Milano is the champion down there. Tag titles, I think the last time I streamed, either the Fabulous Fargos were the champs, or the Pro-Am Connection were the champs. The Pro-Am Connection is Big Bill Miller and Dick Hutton. They lost it to Los G Negros, the Black G's, which is Black Gordman and Black Guzman, because none of their normal tag team partners have debuted yet, so they formed a team together and managed to capture the tag team titles. The women's champion is Yuli Brenner, who just upset Mildred Burke. Burke had been the champion for like 3 years roughly, and Yuli Brenner just came in and took the belt a couple of months back. She's had no defenses so far. I don't know if she's going to be able to keep the belt, but you know, we'll see. She's currently the champ, so I always liked Yuli Brenner. She was an interesting one, so I'm kind of glad to have her as the champ. And if I remember right, I think I inducted Ed Lewis into the Hall of Fame here. So, Strangler Ed Lewis, the newest inductee into the Hall of Fame. He was inducted in year 11. A multiple-time world champion and founder of bluegrass wrestling, Lewis has had a legendary career, is all his induction thing says. So he joins Farmer Burns and William Muldoon in the Hall of Fame. And we also inducted the original NBBW and NWC World's Heavyweight title. It was used from January year 1 to December of year 8. The first champion was Joe Stecker, and the last was Lou Thez. So, those have been the Hall of Fame inductees. And as we go back out here, I don't think anything else really amazing has happened. Let's take a look at the ratings. Just to do that, Blassie, 18-1, just been on a tear since winning that title. And McGurk, yeah, the Sheik, he was 1-10, or 1-9. He had lost 9 straight matches. Went over to Japan, won 10 straight matches. He just lost his last title defense by countout or by disqualification. So that's why he's on a 1-match losing streak now. Karasik 2-0. Milano 1-0. He won the title and hasn't defended it yet. Yuli Brenner 4-7. That's why that was such a upset. She basically was able to win the #1 contenders match and then the championship. And that's her 2-match winning streak. And then Danny Plechis, basically 1-0, as his last match was a draw, so does not count. And then is anything else interesting happening in the rankings here? Everett Marshall still on the 9-match losing streak. Dr. BF Roller is on a 16-match losing streak. It might be time for BF Roller to hang it up. He certainly is not going to get into the into the Hall of Fame with a record like that. Frank Hickey on an 8-match losing streak, and poor Masahiko Kimura is the Japanese punching bag. Rikidozan just won't book him in a strong position to save his life. He just loses to everybody. These have mostly been in the Grand League tournaments, and he has not scored a single win. So Kimura might also be hanging it up soon. Alright, well, I think that's gonna... Oh, I was gonna show these off. I don't know if anybody's still watching. But maybe. So, I'm bringing 2 cards with me to Galacticon. Not sure how many people are... If there's a lot of people there, I might end up doing some, randomly you get one or the other. But if... I'm going to probably print up 20 of each. And if there's less than 20 people there, or 20, right around there, you'll get both. But I did cards for the Great Wojo, who's pretty fun to watch if you're not familiar with the Great Wojo. I recommend checking him out. There's a bunch of his matches on YouTube. He was a real successful amateur wrestler. Moved into professional wrestling, and he kind of got how to play to the crowd. Made a pretty good heel. Definitely an entertaining guy. And then, unfortunately, Jerry Gray passed away last month, or earlier this month. I think it was last month, towards the end of last month. I always thought Jerry Gray was super entertaining on the 605 Super Podcast and the various other places that he would pop up telling stories. And I thought it was real sad that he had passed away. He was battling cancer, stage 4 cancer, and unfortunately he passed. And so I wanted to do this card. It was I always enjoyed Jerry Gray. He was also, if you go and watch his 80s fights, he was a solid jobber. I mean, he wasn't setting the world on fire, but he could definitely work. He definitely made his opponents look good. And then if you would watch some of his, early to mid-90s stuff where he's doing the sort of independence, he makes a solid, mid-card, upper mid-card guy, too. So, certainly wasn't going to, gonna be challenging Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan for the title in the 80s, but was a decent hand, and I'm glad to have done his card for him. And so, yeah, I'll be bringing those with me out to the California version of Galacticon. So hopefully I'll see some of you there. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. Thank you. And you guys have a good one.